Hey Gemini, how's it going? So I got some oracle messages for you here today. If you're new here, my name's Alex. I do tarot, I Ching, and general oracle readings. I also use my own divination system to bring you some messages for insight to help you reflect on whatever it is you might be thinking about. And I get the sense that today you might be thinking about some kind of dicey situation you're in. It's one of those walking on eggshells situations. In fact, the phrase from the I Ching is treading on the tiger's tail. And here we have this idea that you can handle this dangerous or dicey situation as long as you act courteously and softly. Now is not the time for bold actions. Now is not the time to be reckless. It's not the time to cut the nose off to spite the face. That's the phrase I got as soon as I started meditating, was cut the nose off to spite the face. And I always thought the phrase was despite, but it's to spite. Essentially that means like doing some reckless activity, performing some reckless action to, I don't know, get revenge on someone or to very quickly take care of a perceived problem, but it's rooted in like impatience and anger, and it will be self-destructive. It's like, you know, the other phrase that goes along with it is burning the house down to clean the kitchen sink is a similar phrase. It's the idea of like, don't do something self-destructive just to take care of a problem. It's time to find a sort of meeker way around. And at this time, I don't think persuasiveness is going to work either. People around you might not be amenable to your way of thinking, might not be able to be persuaded. So deal with these people in a moderate way, just act moderately with them, neutral, get on your way, you know, do the bare minimum that you need to with them, and just move on from them quickly, and don't really bring them into what you're doing. Here there's the need to act alone in order to fulfill one's duty, in order to carry out an ideal. You might not be able to join forces at this time or have social or professional support at this time. It might be something that you just have to do on your own, because your ideals, perhaps your moral code, your ethical code of conduct is, I don't want to use the word under threat, but like, you know, when you're just surrounded by dishonor, you're surrounded by dishonorable people, maybe, deceitful energies, and you have to act in accord with the truth, with your code of conduct. You're kind of on your own in that situation. The dishonorable people get rewarded and reward each other for acting dishonorably. It's sort of, you know, the norm, right, for this type of situation where people just act dishonorably and they get rewarded for it, or they fit in better because they're surrounded by dishonor. And it's just kind of the way of the world. It's the way of things. And such people become blind to the fact that what they're doing is dishonorable. They think it's just business as usual. They don't see anything wrong with it. They're kind of on autopilot about it. They won't agree that you think it's dishonorable. You'll point it out to them, and they'll say, what are you talking about? This is the way we do things. You're crazy. That's what you have to do. That's what you do to get ahead in this world. This is normal. This is what we all do. This is what we've done, you know, blah, blah, blah. Like, this is what we were taught to do in college. Like, whatever it is. This situation is like this normalized behavior, this normalized way of thinking to you should not be normal. And there could be some powerful leadership energy here. I got the sense maybe like a boss at work or something in that capacity, who is, again, just acting the way everybody else is and supporting that way of acting. But there's a desire to change that within yourself. There's a desire to do things differently, but not only within yourself. Also, like, it's sort of bubbling up under the surface within maybe other people around you. And they're looking more toward an example like yours and not so much toward the boss, because they see something's not right. something's a bit off here. The boss is kind of absentee. The boss might be there doing his or her thing, but spiritually, mentally, they're absent because they're unaware of this murmuring beneath the surface, this desire to do things differently, more authentically, more honorably. This leadership energy or person is thinking the way they've always thought and is oblivious to this need for change or this need to re-examine these values or ways of doing things that are being put into question very, very quietly, mostly by you, but perhaps by others as well. But if there are others who feel the way you do, they're not going to make it known. They're not going to admit it. I don't think you can recruit their help, at least not yet. The job here is for you to lead by example. And the idea of stepping on, like carefully treading on the tiger's tail, but not on the tiger itself. This is from the I Ching. You got hexagram 10, fulfillment, changing to hexagram 6, contention. So basically the guy who standardized and codified this book, the I Ching, King Wen, he was going toe-to-toe with a tyrant. He was a rebel, and he was trying to eliminate an oppressive regime and replace it with his own government. And he was eventually successful. But the way he went about it, at least in this instance, at a particular time, and before he went after the tyrant himself, he went after the ministers and lieutenants, the sort of underlings, the middle managers, so to speak. Kind of one by one, it was the safer route. He'd tread on the tiger's tail without treading on the tiger itself. And in this way, he acted with honor at all times. He never acted deceitfully. He never acted against ethical conduct that was widely socially accepted. He followed the Tao, so to speak. And it worked. He was able to take these ministers out of power, replace them with his own people, and work his way up until eventually he was able to go toe-to-toe with the tyrant many years later. But this is a time where you have to look at a circumspect way of solving this problem and thinking long-term and not doing anything brash or reckless. So another example, when I was doing this reading, I kept thinking about law enforcement or special military operations. This idea kept coming up over and over again, where there's like a ring of criminals. I don't know what they'd be involved in, any sort of maybe drug dealing or anything like that. That's not what's important. But they're organized and they have a hierarchy. And there's always a temptation, once the kingpin is known, to just go after him. You can find him, you know where he is, you have evidence of his crimes, and it's all there. And you just have to get the guy. And there can be an eagerness to do this. And you have the whole hierarchy. I think of Charlie Day from Always Sunny in Philadelphia with his board and the red yarn, the conspiracy theory board, or the detective from the noir films, where they have it all laid out, the kingpin and his underlings, and it's that triangular shape of the hierarchy, and you want to skip ahead to the head guy. Don't do that. It's there's something that you're not seeing here. There's some deception happening. This leader energy kind of wants you to make that move. They want you to be brash and courageous and reckless and just go after him, because there's a trap somewhere. There's a catch that you can't see. It's hidden from you, and I don't know if you will be able to see it. I'll try to help you out when we get to the tarot cards, but again, this is a general reading, so it could be different for each of you. And this metaphor might be getting stretched, but there could be maybe a law enforcement officer reading this. Don't be brash. Go after the underlings. Take them out one by one, and somehow use that strategy to your advantage. Weaken the whole operating system. That way, when you go to the higher-ups, they can't get replaced by the lower-downs. I have this feeling that if you go for the higher-ups, the lower-downs get promoted immediately, and you're just going to be playing whack-a-mole. So start from the ground up. Even though it seems like a waste of time, it is the more difficult path. When I say difficult, I don't mean dangerous. When I say difficult, I mean it's just going to be a bit more complicated and a lot more work. It's not more dangerous. This is actually the safer way of doing it, which is the important thing here. It's the safer way of doing it instead of going for the simpler but much more dangerous path. Go for the slower and more complicated path, but it's much safer and it's surefire. It's, this is when tried and true methodologies should be adhered to. This is when the tried and true traditions are actually important and are actually going to work in your favor. Oftentimes we get tempted to throw away the tried and true, throw away the book, throw away the traditions, and do something different. And this could be anything. If the law enforcement analogy is done, this could move into anything where there are traditions or tried and true methods that are actually going to be very helpful for you. There's a reason why they're tried and true. There's a reason why they're traditions, because they work. And there are many situations in which they work. So follow that. Maybe look back in time, in history. Look for precedents for your situation. Who else experienced something like this, and what did they do? How did they succeed? Look for the ones who succeeded and follow what they did. Look for historical inspirations in that regard, generational inspirations, whatever. Find the success stories and just emulate what they did. And there's no need to reinvent the wheel. If this situation has popped up before and someone solved the situation in a particular way, chances are it's going to work again. And really study strategically what they did. Really dive into it. That's like a learning thing that, we have this, in my own divination system, I got the open palm and the deceiver. And so the open palm is like learning. It's about receiving things, also being meek and gentle, and not being firm and brash and courageous. It's being softer. How in Chinese tradition and philosophy, there's this idea of the soft overcoming the firm and the weak overcoming the strong. That's how you can tread on a tiger's tail and the tiger won't bite you, because the tiger doesn't really care. You're very softly stepping on its tail. It doesn't wake up. It doesn't really notice, or if it does notice, it doesn't mind. It thinks you're just wasting your own time. It's like, he's stepping on my tail, so what? I still have these claws, I still have these teeth, he's not coming after my head. This is fine, I don't care, you can step on my tail all you want. That sort of softness, meekness, don't tip your cards. All these sort of things are very important right now. Take the slow, soft, more complicated and longer way, but the safer way. And I think also, many of you probably are experiencing this concept, if you followed the analogy and applied it to maybe your spiritual growth or your spiritual life, or perhaps even your religious life. Because another thing that I got in my meditation, I got a snake-shaped candle. It was like a wax candle, but it was in the shape of a snake, and the candle was lit. And then that candle morphed into one of those, it looked like one of those medieval paintings, where the perspective is almost two-dimensional. And it was a snake with a flame on its head, or just slightly over its head. And it reminded me of those medieval Christian paintings of the Pentecost, those sort of Pentecostal paintings with the apostles when they have the flames over their head, the tongues of flame as they're referred to in the scriptures. It reminded me of that. But it was a serpent. And there's this idea of the mainstream considering something to be heretical when it's actually not. They just, maybe they don't understand it. There's some teaching that they don't understand or that they don't like because it gives the people who practice this particular spiritual discipline too much spiritual power, and they want to maintain their religious institution as the main religious institution. They don't want competitors. They don't want people to actually become spiritually awakened. They want people to depend on the priesthood. They want people to depend on the government, things like that. So they suppress certain forms of knowledge. These spiritual forms of knowledge, these disciplines that can awaken a person spiritually, oftentimes are mythologized and symbolized with serpents or serpentine imagery. This is that idea of the spinal fire in the Sanskrit tongue called Kundalini, which ignites through the nervous system, through the spinal cord, in the etheric dimension to light up all of our chakras. It is symbolized as a snake or twin snakes that coil up the spine, igniting the chakras on their way up. And so the serpent represents that sort of Kundalini, Shakti, Chi, Ruach, etheric vital forces. That's the awakening power and life forces that bring about a fundamental transformation of consciousness. That raw power is serpentine in its mythology, and gaining that knowledge. I see someone here who has a discipline like this that they practice because it works for them. That's why the serpent has the flame on its head. It's that flame of knowledge, that flame of consciousness, that flame of awakening on the serpent's head. And so I think you may have stumbled upon a spiritual idea, a philosophy, a practical discipline that is effective, and it works, and it's working for the better. It's maybe healing you. It's maybe transforming your consciousness for the better, expanding it, expanding your mind, expanding your knowledge, increasing your healing powers, your psychic capabilities, or just knowledge about life in general. Maybe it's not spiritual, but just more mundane knowledge about how something really works, how things go on behind the scenes. It has expanded your awareness to see how things really work. And it's kind of, it's unorthodox. It will likely be seen as heretical by any people around you, forces around you, coworkers, friends, family, people in the religious community you belong to, whoever. You see things differently than they do, and to you it's cracked you out of a sleep that you've been in. And you see everybody else is still asleep around you, and you can't explain to them what you know for multiple reasons. One is because they will be against it. They'll have animosity toward it, enmity perhaps even toward you. If you talk about it, they'll consider it to be heretical, heterodox, unorthodox, syncretic, anti-them, whatever. They'll put the label of the adversary on you if you discuss it. Others simply won't understand it. It's like, it's like gaining an extra sense and trying to explain to someone what it's like. Like imagine trying to explain an eighth color that only you can see, that nobody else can see, right? It's kind of impossible. You might experience things like that, or the knowledge might frighten people. They might not know what to make of it. They'll believe you, but they'll be discomfited by it or disconcerted by it. And so this is like you having to walk alone. This is you having to walk this path because you realize it is your duty to walk this path. It is part of your ethical code of conduct to follow this truth because you recognize it as such. It has worked for you and you can't abandon it. It's a bell that cannot be unrung, and you're now on that path, and you can't bring anyone with you here. Where you're going, no one else can go. And it's a sense of fulfilling your duty. You are honor bound to do it, and you can take strength in that. You don't need other people to go with you. In fact, the ones that don't go with you will probably be very inspired by how it is you're doing this, that you are walking alone. And they'll all, even if they don't understand, they'll be inspired. Even if they're against you and think you're crazy or think you're wrong or think you're evil for some reason, there's still going to be a part of them that's like, damn, I wish I could be like that. I wish I could be that fearless, that sure of myself. I wish I had something that transformed my mind, that it seems to be working for them. It doesn't have to be what they went through, but I wish I had something like that. And they'll be inspired to then find things like that in their lives. So you don't have to worry. You're not abandoning anybody. If you're moving on to a new life, a new beginning, you don't have to worry about like abandoning people. No one's going to feel that way. It's going to be a mixture of like pride and inspiration. But that's if you just take it easy. Again, like, don't do the brash thing, don't do the angry thing, don't cut the nose off to spite the face. Like, you have to be modest and courteous right now. Like, courtesy and righteousness are two words that popped up again and again in the I Ching for this. It's extremely important. Otherwise, everybody who is on the fence about turning against you will turn against you if you act with discourteousness, so to speak. If you come at them trying to persuade them, trying to convince them, getting hot-headed and argumentative and trying to start debates with them or whatever it is, that's going to push them over the edge to just being flat out against you. But if you're courteous and moderate with everybody at this time, it's going to be smooth sailing. So that's why the situation is dangerous, is because you're just in that space where, like, if you say or do something wrong, people could turn against you and it could just kind of be socially or professionally a little ugly. But it's very easy to avoid the danger. So the dangerous situation is not all that dangerous. Quite easy to avoid it. Just take the slower, more complicated, courteous route, you know. Swallow your tongue, hold your tongue, swallow your pride, whatever it is you got to do to just get through it. So, yeah, I'm going to pull some tarot cards here for you. See if we can get a little bit more on this. So yeah, I want to know kind of what this deceiver energy is that's been coming through, that there might be something you're not seeing, like why you shouldn't go straight for the head of the dragon, so to speak, what's lying in wait, why you need to take this more circumspect route, the more tried and true, slower, complicated route, but the safer route. Like, what is this trap, this deception, this thing that you would run into? So it's it would be something that wouldn't even be recognized. It would be an emotional connection to something from your past. So we got the Six of Cups and the Queen of Cups at the bottom of the deck. So it could be tied to a memory. It could be tied. Yeah, it's something that would be difficult to recognize as a trap, or it's an emotional trap, or it's a nostalgic trap, like nostalgia bait, like kind of how they market new movies to older people. They're just remaking old movies just because they know it works. And then we waste 2 hours watching a movie that we should not have watched because the original was better. But it's something like that. It's kind of like a waste of time that's pulling on your heartstrings. It could be something that's very attractive to you. It could be like a promise of emotional fulfillment, but it's more of an emotional trap. It's going to be kind of like gooey and sticky, like it's like a honey trap, or like like fly paper type of a trap. It's something that's going to stop you from acting and put you in a state of like confused emotionality, but you're going to feel content because it's, you know, Six of Cups, Queen of Cups. Like, this trap will feel kind of nice, like, you know, like watching daytime TV, you know, like, you know, you should be doing something else, something creative or something more interesting, but you're just going to sit on the couch and watch, you know, daytime TV because it's fun, it's stupid, you don't have to think about anything. There might be some feel-good shows on there, maybe some old TV show you used to watch is showing reruns, and so that's the type of trap that you might fall in if you acted brashly or quickly or out of anger or spite right now, or if you went straight for the head of the dragon at this point. There's something lying in wait that's going to be like, oh, but, you know, I could just sit here forever and be content doing this thing. Okay, I didn't see that before. Oh, this is comfortable. I can do this. I could just sit in this comfort now forever. This is great. And it will be an emotional trap, and it will kind of distort the way you think about this. So that's why it's really important. Yeah. Oh, and also at this time, there's the idea of like mingling with people from different social backgrounds. So like, despite their socioeconomic status, You might have to deal with a lot of different kinds of people or interact with a lot of different kinds of people. And that's an opportunity for like, so there's this opportunity for like learning a lot about how a lot of different types of people from different walks of life may have dealt with this problem before. So don't just look for people, you know, when you're looking for those historical precedents and inspirations that I was mentioning earlier, don't just stick to like your specific case. Look for your case as it is. Make your case into an analogy and see how there are other cases from all sorts of different walks of life that have the same principles in them. They might be totally different cases, totally different types of people, but the principles and the analogy of the problem are the same, and the principles of the solution are the same. So that could be really important. So don't get lost in specifics. But, you know, start with the specifics, because there might be something really useful there for you, too. There's nothing wrong with that. So what's the last thing Gemini needs to know? All three of these? Okay. Okay, yeah. So we got the Emperor. We got the Secret. And we got the Star. So these here tell me that you know something that the boss doesn't know. It's not even that the boss doesn't want you to know. It's that they just don't know. And they might not even want to know. It's like there's some old religious proverb. I can't remember. I just think of the Thrice lyrics. There's this rock band I love called Thrice, and they have a song called Hoods on Peregrine. And most of their lyrics come from Christian scriptures and philosophy. And there's this idea that like the priesthood guards a secret, prevents people from knowing this secret, and they themselves don't even know the secret. There's a locked door that they keep everyone out of, and they don't even go in. Like, they don't want anyone to go in, and they don't want to go in themselves. It's like this deep spiritual knowledge that they don't even want to know, because they're afraid that if they know it, that their whole institution would fall apart, the church would fall apart, their political power would fall apart, their desire to have political power would vanish if they knew this great spiritual secret. So they don't want to know it. They'd rather just deal with money and politics and just be happy with money and politics and secure that earthly power for themselves. Ignore the spiritual wisdom because they know with a spiritual transcendence they would lose interest in money and power. So they don't look in the door. But you found it, you know what's behind it, you know the enlightened idea that the boss doesn't know, and you have the key and can give the key to whoever wants it, but here we have this idea that like it's gonna be under the boss's nose, you know? Whoever wants it, like, okay, give it to them, but you know, be a little hush-hush about it, be a little quiet about it, like don't show off that you have this knowledge. If someone comes to you and asks you for it, like, yeah, absolutely bestow them, you know, teach them. Of course, it's our responsibility to do so when we're asked. Just don't show off, don't do it too publicly. And as long as you're courteous about it and just being kind of playful and polite about it, not shoving it in the boss's face. You're just doing it because someone asked you about it. You're just talking about it because someone asked you about it. And don't push it. So you'll be able to awaken people, help people, whatever it is, help people see things more clearly. The boss might even be aware that you're doing this to an extent. And as long as you're just sort of not really rocking the boat, but you're just being very, very soft and courteous about how you teach people or show people what you know, the boss isn't going to care. You're going to tread softly on the tail. You're not going to get bit. So yeah, that's you know something that others don't. It is a secret. It is like some sort of occult secret, a spiritual secret. Perhaps it's just an intelligence secret, a piece of data, a way of seeing a situation. It doesn't have to be spiritual. It can be mundane, but you've got it, and it's yours. It can't be taken from you. You just have to deal with it in such a way as to not flip the table, not rock the boat. But this bit of knowledge, if you carry it forth, walk essentially alone, show it to the people who are truly interested in it, and don't go over the top with it, because you have to have this idea that you're doing this alone. Even for the people who learn from you and stuff, they're probably not going to want to go down this road with you, and just be cool about it. It's all cool. It's all fine. Your success is guaranteed. It's going to take a little bit longer than probably what you want. It might be a little bit more complicated and a little slow and a little lonely, but you're doing like a good thing. Whatever it is you're doing, I have like a really good feeling that it's like this noble activity that is right. It's right for you. It's right for the people around you. It's probably right for the world at large. And so you just got to plod through it, step by step. Go with the flow. Don't push it. Just do it day by day, moment by moment, and it's working out. So yeah, it's not smooth sailing, but it is sailing in the right way. So Gemini, thanks so much for hanging out with me. I really appreciate it. I like it when you hang out, and it's always good to see you. So I'll see you next time. Take it easy.